Yeah, everyone, welcome back. My name is Dr. Ryan Kime, and I'm here to help teach you about gut health. I trained as an emergency physician and practiced for 20 years, but I did not find the answers when it came to preventing health and preventing disease and getting yourself to an optimal state of living. I retrained as a holistic nutritionist. I focus on gut health. I coach others, and right now we're in the process of giving you my very best recommendations on how to get started with this type of nutrition program. Let's continue. Before we get started, let's talk about the objectives for today, which would be more discussion about my meal planning and how I approach it. I'm going to talk about the books that I've written, the small ebooks, but they talk about the principles that I follow and the ideas. And then we're going to talk about why your kitchen matters. And you may have the best food, but if you haven't upgraded your kitchen or designed it around supporting it, you're going to get confused, and I think you're going to have a lot of struggles. But before we dive into that, let's talk about why this topic is important. I think most people want to eat better, right? We all say we want to eat better. All my clients, all my friends, I want to eat better, Ryan. How do I do it? I think I'm doing it. What can I do better? But it's not just about eating better. It's about nuancing it. It's about understanding the ingredients. It's about understanding the sources of the ingredients and put them all together, kind of like puppet strings. So you know where the food is coming from, you know how it gets to your plate, you know what ingredients have or haven't been added. Sometimes and we'll get into this, the biggest factors that affect your gut health are what you put are the additives or the extras that somehow slip into the food. So we'll talk more about that. That's key. All right. Here's a quick tip for today before we get started. When should you drink your hydration, right? When should you drink your water, your electrolytes? Well, everyone knows that staying hydrated is important for gut health, cellular metabolism. It's part of the body's process. It's more than 70% of us. But when should you drink? I used to think you do it with meals. I mean, it's common, right? That's a cultural aspect, but that's not true. I really think that now learning and retraining that you should drink between meals. Try like 45 minutes. Think about after digestion. If you put the water in, say you have a significant amount, say I have a Nalgene here I may be using, if I put 20, 25 ounces of water in my stomach, I may actually dilute down that stomach acid. And if I only have a marginal amount, now I've made that from marginally functional to not functional. And if I can't start breaking down that food, then that food will pass through me without me properly absorbing it. So that, in addition to some of the bile salts, which are a little bit more downstream beyond the stomach, that also help digest the fats. If these aren't in the proper concentration, then you won't be able to to absorb the nutrients. So we'll talk more about that. It's very interesting. It's not just what you eat, is what you become. There's a metabolism, there's machinery behind it, there's a coordination with the absorption. So one of the keys I think would be to avoid any really excess water with meals. Just try to drink a little bit of sips of water to wash your mouth, but don't think about getting hydrated at meals. Think about getting hydrated between meals. Okay, let's get started. Thanks for following me along. Let's catch up. Where we were before in the last live stream, and again, my focus here is go to 0 to 1. It's to get beginners that I think the biggest obstacles that I've heard are I'm overwhelmed. I don't know what to do. Well, I want to help you level the playing field so you know what to do, and then you can decide what choices you want to make. So in the past, when we talked about where you were, and that's a full comprehensive assessment of your nutrition and your lifestyle. Understand what you're eating. Let's do a food journal. A week is good. A month is great. We'll go through nutritional requirements, the deficiencies. We'll talk about macros. We'll talk about calories. We'll talk about your style of eating, how many meals. We'll go into, and then the things that support your meals. What's your mindset around meals? What are your emotions and your relations related to meals? What cultural factors and lifestyle affect your meals? Are you on the road? Do you cook them all at home with your family? How do these impact your meals? And then we're going to talk about what your obstacles are to change. What are you aware of? And maybe what some blind spots that I've seen with a lot of other clients. I think people, and myself included, have a certain margin of lack self-awareness in this. Very commonly, people won't admit they don't have a great diet. And you can have whatever diet you want, but if we're going to try to have a whole foods, low inflammatory, optimize our gut health, and that's the target, I think people are really unwilling to admit how far off they are in that target. I had people say, well, I just eat at Whole Foods, and so I must be fine. You may be, but I don't know about if you must be. And sure enough, as we started to walk down through some of the items that they had bought in the store, many of the prepared foods that they went in for quick meals and convenience and taste actually had a number of ingredients that were pro-inflammatory and would not really be recommended. So, not a problem. We switched the sources of those. They weren't prepared. They started to prepare them more at home, and the inflammation went down. But see, that's some of the common misunderstanding, and it takes kind of an open beginner's mind, a learner's mind, to then appreciate and elevate yourself. And that's what I want to do. That's the purpose of this, is like I said in the last live stream, is to transform you. You'll never be the same once you learn some of these principles. Let's continue. So as I talked about, we talked about where we were, talked about the assessment. I also add on the vision statement in your own words, and I will help you and facilitate this. What is your goal for your health? Can we break it down? All right. Is it something you feel? And then how do we translate that into words? Because I want to make this happen. We can talk about energy. We can talk about weight loss. We can talk about metabolism. We can talk about hormones. We can talk about sleep. We can talk about holistic lifestyle practices and everything in between. I'm happy to answer your questions and do research. I like these vigorous discussions, and I'm totally willing to say, I don't know, but let's find out. I'm your partner. I want to see you succeed. All right, so today, I'm sorry, let's keep going. Focus today is on let's provide a platform for you to make you succeed, right? To get you to succeed. I talked about the meal plans quickly. Those are 30 days of customizable meal plans that we will allow you to bring your preferences in and then source the ingredients out and upgrade them and reduce the inflammation. We'll talk about where the ingredients come from, and we'll talk about swaps and alternatives if we're in a place where we want to make changes. In addition to that, I've written, I think, a dozen books now, small ebooks, mostly pamphlets, but in a book format where they're indexed and you can skip from chapter to chapter for easy reference. I've done them with checklists and guides. I've done them with an easy to read format, and I give them to you. I give 6 of them to the 30-day, and I give all 12 to the 90 and 100-day clients. And then I'll give you a surprise. If you're a success, and most are with the 30 days, I end up giving you the rest of the pamphlets as a congratulations for completing the program. So nonetheless, these books include just my basic ideas. And the first one's the most important one I want to focus on. It's called Holistic Gut Health, 6 Steps to a Healthier You. And the 6 steps are: remove gut damaging foods. Remove gut damaging foods. That's step 1. And that was what I was talking about with all the additives and the extra ingredients that perhaps were in that example from Whole Foods or in a lot of processed foods. We'll get specifically in as I walk through each week and we talk about the topics, but these will cause inflammation in your gut in addition to a number of other things and work against what we're trying to do. Step 2 would be the minimizing environmental toxins. Believe it or not, the cookware plays a significant role in some of the inflammatory problems and the hormonal problems that are related to these additive ingredients. Step 3, nourish and repair your gut. I have a protocol that I go through with my clients here in step 3 that we change some foods, and this is where I introduce some supplements. They spoke about before, I don't believe in supplements every day, all day for your entire life, but our lives are dynamic. And so in this instance where we're nourishing and repairing our gut, I would absolutely advocate for some supplements. I'll introduce them to you. There's a number of them: herbs, spices, all kinds of things. And then we're going to reset the microbiome. And I'll give you another tip. Something I just learned in this last 6 months would be Lactobacillus reuteri yogurt. And I think I talked about this in some of my other videos. I include this in your reset of the microbiome. This is a specific strain of microbe that goes down into your colon, and it's a great it's eradicated in most of adults from antibiotics. When you put it back, it promotes a healthy microbiome balance. It has in itself local antimicrobial properties. So it keeps the bad bacteria in check. It also keeps the histamine in check. It also has anti-inflammatory, where it actually interacts with some of the cytokines, which are the mediators around the leaky gut area to keep the inflammation low and keep the inflammation in check. Has a number of fantastic benefits. I've now included it in step 4 of the reset for the microbiome. So I talk with this about the clients. And then step 5 would be hydration, and that's not just water. You need water, you need electrolytes, and you need silica. And this is the key that I talk with in step 5. And step 6 of the 6-step restart is then to manage your stress. Your lifestyle counts with your gut. And I this is another common obstacle that I think people, including myself, have overlooked and I've appreciated more. Your lifestyle absolutely is related to your gut. How so, Ryan? Let's talk a couple of ways. Well, um, as you may understand, the nervous system and the way that it innervates the gut, at least in this way, not your muscular system, but like your vegetative system that controls your breathing and your heart rate and your pulse and your blood pressure. It also innervates your gut and decides if it's going to digest or if it's going to rest. And that is called the parasympathetic aspect of the nervous system. And then there's the sympathetic, which is kind of the fight, flight, adrenaline. And when these get activated, you either go into a rest and a digestive, relaxed state, or in the sympathetic and the adrenaline side, you go into like the fight, the flight. You're going to take energy away from your gut. It's going to stop, and you're going to put all that energy, blood flow into your cardiovascular system so you can use the adrenaline and get away from the tiger. Well, when you're in an adrenalized state, when you're in a busy lifestyle, you take away from the rest and digest. So some of the recommendations with your lifestyle, and if you knew that, would be to rest when you eat. Don't have electronics on when you're eating. It's, it's one of the best ways. Usually, if we're taking a break, that we're gonna, catch up on emails or social media or calls, and that's important. But if your bile salts are less produced, if your stomach acid goes down, if your peristalsis or the movement and the propulsion of the food through your digestion slows, stops, if your absorption is less, if you get cramping, bloating, gas, if you have poor taste buds and over time nutritional deficiencies, energy, fatigue, brain fog, leaky gut, these are all the symptoms that actually would occur from just being stressed out and eating, because that's how it affects your gut. So you can see that a lifestyle is so important, and it really is going to take your voluntary effort to kind of slow down around meals and try to get that parasympathetic nervous system stimulated so it accommodates the full rest, digest, absorption, nourishment. So really excited, some really excited ideas. I never learned these in medical school. They made a tremendous difference in my life and many, many others. Let's continue on. Some of the other books I have that I share with my clients are the Gut Healthy Recipes, the 30 days, exactly how to customize them out. And then I talk about the Gut Healthy Meal Plan, which is how you would space them out with shopping lists and meal prep, and then an antioxidants guide to how to optimize your body. Talk about anti-inflammatory guide and a lifestyle management, and then one of the most important books I like is, and this is never discussed that I can recall in standard medicine, is a detox guide. I give you a simple detox for optimal health. This talks about things that you can do, exercises like dry brushing, rebounding, movement exercises that will stimulate your lymphatic system to allow the dynamic process to work. We have to excrete our our metabolites, everything that's digested. We have to excrete the waste. And it's not just what gets out in our gut or what's excreted out from our liver, which is our main detox organ. It's also through our skin and then through our cells. And how does this reach those portals to get out? Well, a lot of it's through the lymph. And so the lymph has to be moving, has to be open, has to be cleared. And this is why I wrote this book. And that's why it's so important. I share that with you. The other 6 books, again, support this. We go through this on some of my weekly topics, what I'll do in an active live stream. And the books include Whole Foods Made Simple, The Truth About Hydration, Intermittent Fasting for You, Heavy Metal Detox, Parasite Cleanses, What You Need to Know. All right. The other half of this, and I want to thanks for following along. I really appreciate this, is to get you set up, because most people want to eat better, but without changing what's around you, it's hard to change what's within you. And that's why I made this specific kitchen guide. I didn't think it was useful, but then when I started working with clients, I said, you know what? If we don't have the tools, if we don't have the resources around us, it's going to make this so much more complicated. And that was the approach I took to streamlining the meals, to making the meal prep and a shopping list. Is how do we get you successfully from 0 to 1 the easiest, the simplest way, and understood. So how do we do this here? It's a couple step process with your kitchen prep. And in my introductory video, all of this up to this point is not even part of the program. None of the programs. This is all your preparatory week. I have you review some of this. I have you look at the meals. I have you think about customizing. I have you do some shopping lists, and then an introductory phone call, even video. I will go through your pantry and your kitchen with you, and we'll talk about some of this. So in step one, we'll talk about some organization, how it can help you. I'll show you where you can, if you choose, if you want. And again, this is just sharing information if it resonates with you, why a top, middle, and bottom shelf drawers separated in a certain way will help you, where you can remove sugary drinks and swap them, why a storage and spices could be carried out in one area and a healthy snack in another. Just share all these tips with you. Step two would be to detox the pantry. Let's swap some of the ingredients. Let's recognize what's in there and then upgrade some of those ingredients. Let's replace with some whole foods, some gut-friendly foods. Step three is going to stock up on the ingredients. We're going to talk about some of the spices and some of the essentials that are in and around your kitchen, but not necessarily in the refrigerator. Step four is if you choose, talk about some safe cookware and utensils. Get away from some of the plastics. And just an aside, well, why are plastics bad, Ryan? Microplastics, for a number of reasons. They actually are foreign bodies, are pro-inflammatory, get into you. But they're also hormonal. They're called xenoestrogens, a fancy word for like artificial hormones. Estrogen is a hormone in our body, and it has a number of, uh, of effects, but the xenoestrogens mimic it. They actually replace it, and they actually compete in the same receptor and will outcompete our natural estrogen, causing our to go out of hormones with our pituitary, hypothalamus, and a range of other hosts. All right. The other thing would be safe cookware choices, like converting to stainless steel or cast iron and getting away from the BPAs and like the polyethylene coats. These leak and again have the same effects as some of the plastics. Step five would be introducing some non-toxic cleaning products. Dishwasher detergent. Those particles are left there. I used to use it. I've upgraded. And that's what I'm saying. Some of this could be an evolution. It doesn't have to be done overnight, but that's what we'll talk about. We'll talk about some non-toxic cleaning products that you can use in and around your kitchen. And then six would be some smart shopping for produce. I'll talk about the Dirty Dozen and the Clean 15 and why they matter and where you can, shop for organic or maybe not, and why frozen may work for you, and just different ideas. So these are some ways that I would approach the kitchen to help you be successful in your approach to gut health. Thanks for following along. I really appreciate it. Let's see you next time. We're going to talk about the weekly topics, and this is where we start the program when we give you a chance. The weekly topics are going to go over every one of my best ideas. I write them out in a foundational essay with recommendations, highlights, bullet points, and then I speak with you on the phone every week. So next week, we'll talk about the outline. See you then. Thanks again. And remember, if you heal your gut, you can change your life. Bye now.